everyone and welcome. So today we'll talk about my experience interviewing at Google, and also we'll talk about the Google interview process for software engineers. Stick till the end because this session is going to be interesting. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We share a lot of cool stuff about web development. It will help you be a better software engineer. My journey with Google started in 2016. On May 2016, I got a message saying hello from Google. Seeing this message, I was very excited. At the same time, I was nervous. I was excited because I never expected something like this before. And I was nervous because I didn't know what to do next. So 2 days later, I got a call from the recruiter, and the recruiter told me about the next steps, how it would look like. But before moving forward to the next step, the recruiter is going to ask you certain questions. And that's what she did. She asked me about my background, what exactly I was studying, and why I am interested in working at Google. And of course, everyone knows the obvious answer, why do you want to work for Google? So I just told everything about that, and later she told me that the next step would be the online assessment. She sent me a link, and I had to complete that online assessment within 7 days. So after 5 days, I took the online assessment. The questions were not too tough, they were more mathematical, so I was able to solve it. Though I was not having knowledge about data structures or algorithm, but I kind of figured out how to answer those questions, and I passed the test. And the funny thing here was that I thought that this was going to be a video recorded session. Previously, I gave some interviews and they were recording you when you give the test. So I was like wearing a shirt and tie, as you can see in the picture. I was wearing shorts because I thought that it's just my upper body which is going to be displayed. But this was like non-video, totally non-video. But anyway, I passed the test, and a day later I got a call from the recruiter again saying that congratulations, you have passed the test, and the next session would be a phone call with a software engineer. And now I was like, okay, this is my first time I am talking to someone more technically, so I had to prepare way more. So I took like 2 weeks of preparation time, and 2 weeks later I scheduled a call. All right, so even after 2 weeks of preparation, I did really bad in those interviews. But this gave me a motivation to be better, because the guy who took my interview, he was extremely smart. He is right now the head of the YouTube TV department. If you might see those annoying ads, like take a 7-day trial for YouTube TV, this guy is the head of that department. But again, I contacted a recruiter in 2017 and I asked for an interview, and they immediately scheduled it. And this time, the second time, again I messed up in the phone interview, but this time it was a two-dimensional array. Before I prepared for arrays and string, but now it came the two-dimensional array. Again I failed the test, but I made sure that I prepared for the two-dimensional array as well. I got another interview, and this time the question which was asked to me was one of the toughest. But still, the interview was more of a conversation between me and the interviewer. He gave me hints. I started picking up hints and started suggesting solutions for it. He really liked those approaches. Code was just like 5 to 6 lines, but still I was selected for this interview. So the next round was more about on-site interview. So I got a call from the recruiter saying that, okay, congratulations, we are moving forward to the next round, and this is going to be on-site. I was super excited about this. In 2018, this was one of the best moments. Okay, so 1st December 2018 was the date of my on-site interview. I was very excited about it. There were 4 coding rounds and 1 lunch with a software engineer, and they made me code on a Jamboard. This is a Google product which is kind of a not a virtual, but a touch screen whiteboard. It's a really big one and it's very expensive. $6,000 whiteboard. You can think of something like that. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I got a call from the recruiter saying that I am not selected, but they really liked you and asked me to try again next year. And this is a standard reply which you get, but I asked for any feedbacks which I have. And the recruiter was like, I cannot share it with you, but I started asking more specific questions, and then he gave me some answers to it. So it said that 2 were like strong hires. Out of 5 technical rounds, 2 were strong hire, 2 were neutral, and 1 was a negative feedback, or negative, or like a no hire, something like that. So that's the reason we cannot move forward. But at least the 2 strong hire, which I kind of knew which they were, and so I knew which exactly things I need to be more preparing so that I can be more confident in coding. Again, I interviewed twice in 2020 and 2021, even this year. In 2020, they were just hiring for L5 position because of the pandemic. and which was a senior position, and I definitely don't include or count myself as that senior because you need to be fluent in coding. And these days I am a bit, not extremely fluent, but I'm pretty good at solving algorithms, which is what Google loves. So anyway, in 2021 I gave the test again because 2020 was pending. I never replied back because they were asking for L5 position, and 2021 they started taking more juniors, or not a junior but a L4 level, which is not even junior, not even senior, it's right in the middle, so kind of mid senior. So I interviewed for that, but unfortunately the interviewer never submitted the result. The interview went pretty well, just like 2020. It was good enough for L4 position, but he never submitted, and that's the reason I never got any call back. But anyway, this was my journey and my experience with Google, which helped me on every year and every stage. It helped me to get better at whatever I was doing. I even spent a lot of stuff on learning materials, Udemy courses, LeetCode, and even a few months ago I took the educative course, which helped me a lot in data structures and algorithm. Okay, so let's talk about the process of the interview. There are 4 steps. First is the recruiter phone call. Second one is the take-home test. Third one is a phone call with a software engineer. And the fourth one is an on-site. These days it's even virtual on-site. Okay, so take-home test is something which you might just get for the very first time. After that, every time it's just going to be recruiter, phone call with a software engineer, and on-site or virtual on-site, depending on when this thing ends, pandemic. Okay, so what you need to take care in each of these steps. First is the recruiter phone call. This is a pretty straightforward one. They'll try to analyze you if you are suitable for this position through a non-technical conversation. They are smart enough to figure out if you are the right person for this role or not. Okay, so the second one is about the take-home test. It is pretty straightforward. Questions aren't tough enough, but sometimes they could be confusing. So pay more attention to what exactly they are expecting out of that question, and make sure to keep track of the time. The third one is about a phone call with a software engineer, and this is something where you will be asked to introduce yourself. And a lot of times I've seen people making a mistake that when they introduce themselves, they take like a long time, around 2, 3, 4 minutes explaining about what things they have done. To be honest, these software engineers, they don't really care about what your introduction is. What they care about is directly getting to that question which they have in mind. So limit it to like 30 seconds. Just let them know what projects you are working on and what past experience, just in brief. And that's gonna work. If you say like you are the best person in your company, it's not going to change anything in that particular interview. So just put it like 30 seconds and it's going to be good to go. So the software engineer will ask you to open the Google Doc, and that link must have been provided to you by your recruiter. If you don't have it, you can even ask it to the software engineer. The third one is about the on-site, not the third one, but the final one, which is the on-site or a virtual on-site. Here you will have 5 rounds of coding interview and 45 minutes each. They will be mostly asking you 2 questions based on the time. It could be even 1. At my time, there were two questions in 3 interviews and 1 question in 2 of the interviews. So yeah, it depends. And after that, it will be the decision stage where the recruiter will call you saying yes or no, and then the conversation can go further. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. It's just gonna take 2 seconds. Our next video is going to be about JavaScript basics, so be prepared for it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.